I think of Archbishop Cordileone in San Francisco. We had him here in the middle of kind of the intensity of what was happening last summer. And they said, okay, you can't have larger than 10 people gatherings, 10 or 12 people gatherings for Mass. So he had, I think, a bunch of priests come and separately celebrate Mass on the cathedral steps outside. It takes people, I think, showing that it matters in order for others to say, okay, maybe we do need to uphold what for example, United States Constitution holds to be a right for each of us, the freedom to assemble, the freedom of worship, and the freedom of free speech. So why does freedom of worship matter? And if we don't continue to fight for it, what will happen?
Well, I think, that's a incredibly open-ended question. But as far as the right to worship, it's part of our nature as people and as a community of faith to celebrate as a community. This isn't, our individual prayer time is very important, and that's a very important way to grow in the faith. But communal celebration and adoration of God is part and parcel of our faith. And being able to gather together is a key part, especially when it comes to accessing the sacraments. Now, one thing that I want to make very, very clear is the right to worship is not an absolute right. And when we exercise it, we need to do so prudently. So just like I think giving a shout out to Archbishop Cordileone is super important, giving a shout out to the Dominicans at the Thomistic Institute is very important. They've come up with a guide, a COVID-19 guide for administrating the sacraments. They've shared it with dioceses across the country, and it talks very simple steps that can be done in order to celebrate, especially the Mass and the different sacraments, in ways that are consistent with the dignity of the liturgy and the rite, and in kind of compliance and adherence to health standards. And they brought together a working group of infectious disease specialists and theologians, and it's really amazing what we can do when we use our heads and our hearts to face this very difficult time that we're in.